And good afternoon, Radio K-Man Nation, and a very happy Friday and very happy New Year's Eve. Thank you for tuning to your station of the nation, Radio K-Man. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. We have a special show today discussing health and wellness and New Year's resolutions. And I'm very pleased to have in studio, joining me today, the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Ms. Sabrina Turner, and then join us shortly from Encore's K-Man, Dr. Alexandra Bodden. As always, we do welcome your stories, feedback, or questions, and invite you to join the conversation, especially today as we say goodbye to 2021 and welcome in a brand new year. Simply dial in 1-800-534-8255. That's 1-800-534-TALK or 949-8037. Or you can always WhatsApp us at 925-3261. Back with more talk today following this very brief disclaimer.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners' participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Live Communication.
Let your voice be heard.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and very pleased to have in studio for this special New Year's Eve show, the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Miss Sabrina Turner, no stranger to Radio K-Man.
No, it's been a while, but it's a pleasure to be back. And again, Happy New Year's Eve to you and to the Cayman Islands. It's exciting, and this is a time of the year where people really reflect and be hopeful and positive going into a new year. So thank you for extending the invitation. It is a pleasure to be here understanding the topic.
You know, it's a fun one. I think this show, I've done the New Year's Eve broadcast a few years now, and it's been almost a trend where every year has been like, this year has been a really bad one. Let's say goodbye to it and welcome in a new one. I remember 2019, there was that was kind of like the way 2019 had gone. Then 2020 hit and everyone went, oh, this is way worse. And then 2021 hit and everyone went, whoa, this was way worse.
Yeah.
So let's say goodbye to 2021. And this time, for real, let's mean it. Let's welcome in a very happy and prosperous 2022.
There's always hope.
Yeah.
And you will always hear me say that because that's what keeps me going, having hope and faith.
Yeah,
and we're always saying, oh, well, that was a horrible year. And we're optimistic, we're hopeful, and just having faith and trust that the next year will be much better. But as we are, again, COVID central pretty much, and that's what is the talk around everything that's affecting jobs, livelihoods.
Sure,
it's bringing a lot of families to the brink of, oh my goodness, mental health is being challenged. Even I was speaking to a friend this morning by phone, and we were talking about weight gain and understanding how the gyms will be full for the next couple of weeks. But again, that's all depending on COVID guidelines as well, But what we must be thankful for is the fact that we still have life.
Sure, absolutely.
When you look globally at what's happening and how blessed we still are despite everything that's happening, we still have a lot to be thankful for, and therefore hope, being optimistic and not giving up. Human beings are resilient people, and we adjust accordingly. Some of our roads are much tougher than others. We may be battling the same challenges, but some have it a little harder. But the mere fact that we're a unique society and being together is what makes us unique in our own way.
Sure. You covered a few different areas in that little bit there that I definitely want to explore throughout the show
Sure.
because, one, I was kind of curious how long we'd be able to make it throughout the show until we had said that C word. I call it the C word now on the show. You can say it because you're the Minister for Health and Wellness. I think you have to say it.
Yes.
But I've been using the C word. So yesterday we made it almost the entire show until it was mentioned. We made it 2 minutes today, but that's all good. Well, you're the Minister for Health and
Sorry to be
Wellness.
the bummer here.
You're allowed to say it. You know, Dr. Alexander Button, welcome to Talk Today.
Hello.
Happy New Year's Eve. So obviously we're going through the discussion about New Year's resolutions today, but let's recap 2021 because it flew by. I think
Yes.
everyone could say that
Yeah, for sure.
you graduated being a mom for a year. Talked about
Yes.
it. Like
Yes.
you made it to
Already,
you made
I
it to
can
the 1 year
remember
marker.
when you were carrying your
pregnant.
baby. Yes,
Yes.
she was pregnant when she was on the show.
I swear that was 2 months
Yeah.
ago, but apparently according to the calendar, and you an
Yes.
over 1 year old baby now.
Yes, I do. He's 15 months.
Wow.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Made it. And then
You survived.
you survived.
Both of us and my husband.
All three made it through.
Yes.
So you waited till the husband part until later. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
he didn't actually quite make it through.
He actually did. Yes.
And then, Minister, 9 months ago, you were sitting on the private sector side. You were sitting exactly in my
Pretty much
seat
in
over
your
a year-
seat,
a year
yeah.
ago. And so, in that short period of time, which also feels like 2 months ago,
Yeah.
you stepped into the hot seat. That's much can change in 1 year.
A
despite
very
how-
hot seat. I'll probably need Doc by the end of this.
I'm
You're
not
good. I got
which one
connections.
has- I'm not sure who got more sleep out of the two of you this year.
Literally, you may have had a 1-year-old, but having landed this position and this ministry at this critical time, it's almost like having a newborn. You don't
Absolutely,
sleep. You can't go to sleep sound because you're expecting your phone and you never know what it's going to be. You're always reading articles. You're cognizant of what's going on within the region globally. And then you have like your CMO, Dr. Lee, who's no longer with us, but our interim CEO, Dr. Newton. And she's new here, but not new to her position. So you're constantly, and I know that the public is sometimes upset because as you're getting into a new set of regulations and you're just getting into it, understanding it, then bang, a new set comes out. Yes, that's exactly
Like
what's
having a baby.
happening
That's like having a
around.
baby.
Exactly.
Every 2 months.
So it's changing literally daily in our cases. Not to say that we have to replicate everything that they're doing globally, but we have to have our hands on the pulse at all times. And this is why it takes a joint effort from your elected officials, public health, and the people in adjusting our behaviors. So right now, until we learn more of what living with this is about, and then there's a curveball because you don't know if there's going to be a new variant next week. We don't know the you see what I'm saying? So we constantly have to be flexible and always assessing. Sure. So it is something coming from one life, landing in this position. So I can totally relate being a mom, but another mom that's responsible for an entire nation is a total different ball game, and it's a total different realm altogether in the middle of a pandemic. But I am honored to have been given this position. I trust those that are around me and all of those in the healthcare, be it private practice, HSA, public health. I am one of the most honored persons because I have so many people in the industry that's willing to work together so that we can navigate our way through this, making sure that health and the well-being of our people is at the forefront. So I'm honored.
Thank you. I was going to suggest you should download a baby ringtone. So every time your phone does ring, you get to enjoy what Dr. Bada enjoys.
Oh, yes.
You may as well go full tilt, right?
Screaming baby will definitely get you up.
And Dr. Bada,
Yes, sir.
how was 2021 for you?
It was good. A lot happened, and I think it's still just like kind of a whirlwind. I think a lot of it is the lack of sleep, but just so much has come, and I think that this year going into the new year, whereas a lot of us are really hopeful, I think a lot of us are more cautious this year as well. Sure. I don't know if you guys have already seen the meme about it's 2022.
Two.
Yeah, TOO.
Yes.
So I think a lot of us are more cautious. I think that's kind of the big thing for me is a lot of it is, and knowing that this C word is kind of a marathon now.
Yes.
I know at the beginning we talked a lot about like coping skills and managing stress now, but really we need to shift gears a bit because this is going to be the long haul. Yeah, so it's not just kind of, it is about kind of managing your mental health and the stress day to day. That's really going to be about shifting gears and kind of figuring out how are we going to manage with this and live with this long term, because the virus is always changing, the regulations are always changing. There's so much around us that's changing all the time. That's going to be it's different. It's a different game now. Yeah. Now that we have more information. Yeah. But this being flexible and adaptable and, being open to change and new ideas is kind of what we always look at with mental health. Which is that, while we like to know what's going to happen and what to do and try to be in control of things, this is a situation where we can't. And so being open to that and kind of, embracing it as a way of kind of like learning new ways of doing things and new, like even like Christmas this year, for many of us was different. Absolutely.
It absolutely was.
And so, it's new traditions and new ways of doing things, and maybe it's in smaller groups and, but being open to that and working with that as opposed to just kind of fighting it the whole time.
Yeah. You said a lot when you said about being in control.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Control of what we knew life was like ended in March of 2020.
Last year.
And for many in 2021, we were actually reliving life of 2019 because for some reason 2020 was all a blur. Then all of a sudden now we're entering 2022 and we're like, oh my gosh, was that last year? When it's actually, yes, it was the year before. Because some way subconsciously, and you're the expert, we thought it would go away come 12 o'clock on the 31st of December. And we've ended 2 years and we are still here.
Yeah.
And that mental block of by choice selecting it, because it's unbelievable how our lives have changed, how the world has changed. It is no longer even a pleasure booking to go off. Who wants to go away now? Because life has changed so much. And and when you look at it, it's because you have all of these different parameters and guidelines from even your own country of origin. You're trying to get back in, but unless you have this or unless you do that, the control is gone. So you actually hit it on the head. That control has been taken away from us from March, and hence I feel we're seeing a lot more mental issues, more outbursts, more anger, more rage, less patience. We're seeing it play out on the roads. We're seeing it even amongst our peers who didn't necessarily lost their job, but their income in the household has been affected. And it's because we lack that control. It's been taken away by an invisible sea. And coping mechanism now is pretty much in overdrive because you can no longer honestly point the finger at your legislators, at your doctors, and it is collectively we're going to have to trust those who are the experts in order for us to all cope and survive. So you may be seeing that. It is control.
Oh, yeah. Humans don't like to not be in control, so it's hard. No. And, and that's, we have certain beliefs that many of us hold, deep down that the world is safe, the world is fair, and all of those things have been challenged by this pandemic. And so there's a lot of things that we're having to deal with, and maybe even unconsciously, because for many of us, it is a day-to-day thing. Yeah. Especially with the financial situations, there's so many things we deal with day-to-day, we don't ever really get a chance to stop and slow down and look at things. Yeah. Because there's been a lot of loss in the last few years. Exactly. Many of us have lost loved ones. Even those of us who haven't, we've lost the ability to travel, the ability to go visit family. So there's been a lot of loss. And a lot of times, because everything is so imminent day to day, there's not time to stop and process that. And so then it does come out in the outrages and the outbursts. And a lot of times we don't even know why we're so angry. It's just there's just this tension inside of us from everything that's been going on, from living in constant fear and all these things being taken away from us, and not being able to stop it. So.
On that note, I'm going to put a pause on that one.
It's not too often you get Ray like that.
I was like, oh, how do I lift back up from that one? I'm usually the uplifting, happy-go-lucky, and I'm like, whew. Take a breather. I need a break.
Which is important. So it's good. Stop, take a break, and we'll come back and talk about how to do
So on that note, let's take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll be continuing our conversation with Dr. Alexander Bodden and the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Ms. Sabrina Turner. Back to more talk today right after this.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office.
Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
The holidays wouldn't be the same without a little boom from Fireworks Limited. K-Man's biggest firework discount megastore is now open behind Massive Equipment in Industrial Park. Fireworks Limited has a megastore full of new fireworks and offers huge volume discounts. Stock up early and save big with free gifts with every purchase and the biggest variety of products on island. Fireworks Limited is behind Massive in Industrial Park with tons of parking.
Open until 6 p.m. every night and until 9 p.m. on Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve.
For the record.
For information that matters to you, the people. Hear from the government, the opposition, independents, and other experts on issues and solutions that affect you.
For the record.
Every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, tune into 89.9 and 93.9 FM for K-Man's Straight Talk Morning Show. For the record.
I invite you to join me for the record. You are invited to be a part of this interesting and informative show. Embrace the opportunity to dialogue with your legislators, policymakers, and those charged with policy implementation.
For the record. Brought to you by
Coca-Cola. Available across the Cayman Islands from Tortuga Distributors.
Accept no substitutes. Taste the feeling with Coca-Cola.
Hi, I'm Minister of Health and Wellness, the Honorable Sabrina Turner. The best gift you can give yourself this holiday season is the gift of protection. If you are 18 or older and received your second dose of COVID-19 vaccine more than 3 months ago, please get your COVID-19 booster. There's no greater gift than being protected and protecting those you love. For more information on boosters, visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and very pleased to have in studio for the special show today the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Ms. Sabrina Turner, and Dr. Alexander Bodden from Encore's Cayman. No strangers to Radio Cayman. Been across our areas for a number of years now. And again, if you're just tuning in before the break, we were quickly recapping what the past 2 years of life has kind of been like and some of the highlights from 2021. 2021 happened so fast that I forgot there was an Olympics that had actually taken place. The other day I went, wait a second, there was an Olympic. A whole Olympics happened.
Yeah.
I was up in sports guy, so as a kid, the Olympics was huge for me. World Cup is huge for me. I look forward to it. I forgot until the other day I was just prepping for this show and I went, oh, that was actually a highlight. We had a whole Olympics international event that happened.
Yeah.
We had athletes from Cayman go out that I followed.
Yeah. Yes.
And I forgot because it's such a blur, right? Have you all, what is your highlights that you can actually remember from this year? Non-sea related. See what I mean?
Okay. No. Big ones.
Right.
Big ones for me is the getting elected, of course.
That's kind of big.
It's huge.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Because that my entire life has changed.
Absolutely.
In from one day to the next, and just leading up to that, and then landing in this position. The highlight is always the sea. Sure. Unfortunately, you don't want me to go there, but but no, a huge one for me is just understanding and appreciating family and loved ones. I have had a moment over the Christmas holidays. Of course, it was based on trying to catch up with some rest, because it's been a long 7.5, 8 months. And I really realized the importance of having family in your space, appreciating that time. When I'm up, I call them. I'm not cognizant of time. And they're like, oh my God, it's 6 o'clock. Why is she calling?
I'm not cognizant of time.
No, because
you sound like a mom right now.
When I'm up, it's almost like, you should be up too.
Yeah,
you know, but
absolutely.
It's very selective when it comes to family. But no, what?
So the ones that are on the naughty list, they get the call at 5 a.m.
But appreciation of family, loved ones, and you reach out to them as often as you can, because we've seen, like you said, there's so much spaces and voids right now in people's homes. And I'm really, really looking at quality of life, what makes you happy, and embracing those moments, those opportunities, but the value of friendship and family, and just expressing to them truly what they mean to you. It may not necessarily be like me doing those early morning calls and saying I love you, but a kind gesture, just popping over, coming over. That is one of the biggest things for me, is learning more about who I am, accepting who I am, and just embracing family and togetherness. But definitely the highlight is the swearing in and going in this very noble role, being in this noble role at such a critical time that impacts all aspects of life for me.
Congratulations again.
Yeah,
even though it was only 8 months.
Congratulations. I don't think I've seen you either.
Yeah,
no, this is the first time,
Yes,
but thank you.
You know, that whole calling family members at random times, that if you're awake,
usually early morning.
Yeah. I guess remember, like, I think in about 30 years, I'm gonna prank call my son that way, like, you know.
Really?
Yeah, you know how funny it would be for any dad out there thinking like that right now? If you're a dad like me, you're going, I can prank call my kid at any time of the morning. Can't really do
They'll
the whole
probably still be up if they're teenagers or early 20s.
How about yourself, Dr. 21 highlights.
Yeah, no, I think obviously my baby's first birthday was awesome, and I've got a little group of babies that all turned 1 within a couple of weeks. It was a very busy couple of weeks, but a very exciting couple of weeks, and a lot of firsts with him. But I think probably the biggest things that I've learned personally was, so I actually had COVID right before Christmas. And yeah, I was locked up the last 2 weeks before Christmas. It was a very long couple of weeks, but it made me slow down. And we got to spend time with my baby that I wouldn't have had otherwise, especially coming into Christmas. So the restructuring I always talk about, I have to use it. It was a couple of days that didn't work. It was a couple of days that were very long. But, you know, and kind of slowing down to think about it, I think that was something I really appreciated. Like all his birthday toys that we hadn't had time to put together, we put together, because the days are very long when you can't go anywhere. So and it was just the three of us at home. So we put together his pool, his little splash pad, and his water tray and everything. And it was a lot of fun. Nice. My phone is now disconnected Facebook, so I'm now learning other lessons now. Wow. Yeah, so
that's actually it. Like new phone techniques, like new phone apps. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, my phone for some reason won't go on Facebook now. So but I do believe things happen for a reason. So I'm trying to take it in stride.
It was your phone saying enough's enough.
I think so.
Stay off. Stay
off
the book.
Yeah, exactly. So, but just trying to learn what I can from the situations. Yeah. But it has been a really, really interesting year.
It has been. You mentioned the being in quarantine or being in isolation for that period. Quite a few obviously came in going through some of that throughout the course of the year, not just right now. There's a lot right now, but and myself, I was in it for the 10 days when the schools the school situation was just starting out the door.
Right.
But you're right. You're forced to slow down. You have a choice: make the best of it as best as you can, which it's never pleasant to say that way, but that's right. You can either get really upset and stare at the four walls upset, or you can, make the best of it in some way.
But what I found challenging, and I mean, you're the expert in the field, how do people cope under those circumstances? Because human beings we love to interact. We're creatures who just love to interact. And even though you're interacting with in your case, a child, I've had persons who I interact with who were unfortunately for them after a period of time being locked in with kids. They were actually stretched. And I guess just the knowing subconsciously that you can't, these are the parameters, you can't do this, you can't do that. That in itself plays on your mind. How do you actually, because like we state, this is not going away anytime soon. We don't know when. There may be placed in isolation again. What are some, I guess, tips that you would be able to share with parents who may not, their surroundings may not be like, there are a lot of things, utilities, lack of running water, just, we're not in the same boat. I'm sorry.
No,
we're battling this, but we're not in the same boat. These are the true conversations, but we still have to find realistic ways of coping with it if we want to try and not eradicate it. That's almost impossible, but slow it down, lessen the spread. But if you're told to isolate, no matter what your living conditions are, there must be some tips that you could share to help us cope with this.
Yeah, no, for sure. I was just sitting at work and happened to take a test because I had a bit of a sore throat and it came up positive. Luckily, I hadn't done much for the day. I just went home, but it happened suddenly. So I'd suggest, if you have family, you're in and out, you're in a lot of different places, different spaces, have some supplies at home. Because that was the hard part to start with. And I felt guilty calling people to bring me things. In the supermarkets, you can order now, but they only deliver it in 2 days' time. So it can be tricky. So I'd say have a plan of action for that. And I think when you're there, so there are things that are out of our control, but focusing on what is in your control. Trying to get up each day, trying to do something each day. I then took it upon myself once I got the baby to sleep to clean different parts of my house. Things I've been saying I'm going to do since the last lockdown in 2020, which I actually got a lot done. Just to kind of focus on what we can do. And especially because my exit test, that was the worst part, was not even knowing if I'd passed the exit test. The LFTs were hopeful, but I wasn't sure what would happen. I was coming out the day before Christmas. I was like, and I hadn't done any of my Christmas shopping, so it was hard. So that was how I kind of shifted my mindset to, and that's something called cognitive restructuring, which is the thoughts are, this isn't fair and I shouldn't have to be here. But it's like, okay, well, I am here. I can't change that right now. So what can I do to make the most of this time? So focusing on what is in your control, what you can do. Before I had the baby, finding things that, either projects that you can work on. So having things around the house that are easily available, and reaching out to other people. Like I got to go to a couple Christmas parties online, which was cool. So, reaching out in other ways, connecting with other people can help it feel like you're not so disconnected. Actually, they put up a jerk chicken stand right behind my house that plays music. They play reggae music all day. I'm not gonna lie, that was actually really helpful. They opened like 2 days before I went into quarantine. So music, getting out, getting some sunlight, this actually kills COVID, but it's actually really good for mood as well, especially the early morning. And you're going to get tired with COVID as well. I was the one who tested positive. So, getting out, getting moving, getting some fresh air is all really helpful. Clearing out the house, opening up the house can all be really helpful as well, if you're able to. Obviously, I know some people aren't able to go outside if they're quarantining in an apartment. But I'd say have things around to keep your mind busy and keep you occupied.
How do you deal with them not taking over your show? Because these are questions that are coming up. And I want to make sure that, my position that I'm answering and I'm answering truthfully. But for those who rebel and they just outright say they're either in disbelief or I cannot stay here, I'll do it for let's say 3 days and then they're out and about. The rebellion side of it.
Yeah. What do I say to you about that, or what do I say to them about that?
In general.
Yeah. Well, and I think that was what, I'm very much a rule follower anyway. Anyone who knows me knows that. Very much so. All of them, and for better or for worse. But I'd say in that case, it's important to know the consequences. Right, the potentially a year in jail. That's what came to mind. I was like, one night, that jerk chicken stand's really close. I wouldn't have gone over there, but it crossed my mind. I was like, but a year in jail is far worse than 2 weeks in my house. That was a big reality check for me. So considering the consequences or the fines, but also the health of other people.
Yes.
Right? I was like, I felt so guilty that day. I was like, if only I'd taken the test sooner, then maybe I could have prevented more. But, considering the well-being of other people, I think is really important. I think that's an important stop as well, especially with the new variant being more contagious than others. So making sure that, that you're protecting other people around you, even if you don't care so much. I mean, I didn't feel terrible, right? So a lot of people that are getting sick I had a really wicked headache for a few days and a sore throat, but it wasn't what I thought COVID would be. And so, so I think it's important to know that even if you're not feeling sick, you still can contaminate others, infect others.
Stay contaminated. We got you, man.
Sorry, mom brain. You can still infect other people. And so I think it's important to know that to be responsible, you need to stay away from other people when those situations are coming up. So a year in jail stopped me.
A year in jail. It's a good deterrent. It's a great deterrent. On that note, let's go to a quick commercial break. When we come back, we'll be continuing this conversation on how to manage and keep up with 2022. Back to more talk today right after this.
Savannah Pharmacy. Shop local and get a head start on your Christmas shopping. For ladies' handbags, clothes, shoes, fragrance, candles, and cosmetics with the newest Farmhouse Fresh line of skincare. For the gentlemen, clothes, shoes, fragrances, gift sets, and toys and games for the kids. Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs. And convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045. Study local and go far this spring. Want to start your bachelor's or associate degree or just need a few classes to complete? Registration is now open for spring classes at UCCI. Scholarships are available for the spring semester, but you need to act now to meet the deadlines. Visit www.ucci.edu.ky to enroll now. Classes begin January 10th. Enroll by December 1st for a chance to win an iPad or a laptop.
20 years.
Remember when Crew Road had no median and Linford Pearson was only 2 lanes?
We do.
When Dirty Reeds was down the street?
We do.
We have been there for the falls, the growth, and the rise. When your body and mind needed to change, Powerhouse Gym has been here. We've skated with you. Your first date, your daughter's first time on skates, your son's first strike. From football to squash, to karate and hockey, to bowling and concerts, and everything in between.
For 20 years,
so much has changed. Some for the good and some not so much. Through it all, King Sports Center has been here for you, for Cayman.
King Sports Center, celebrating 20 years as Cayman's home for fitness, recreation, and relaxation.
'Tis the season to celebrate. I'm Cassandra Bennett, Trade Officer with the Department of Commerce and Investment. Liquor license holders are reminded of their permitted hours and in particular, the closing hours of 12 a.m. effective until December 30th for all bars, nightclubs, restaurants with bars, and retail mobile holders. All liquor license holders are also reminded that sales must stop 10 minutes prior to closing time, which is now 12 a.m. Social distancing is still encouraged and a maximum capacity for indoor venues is 100 people and 250 people for outdoor venues. Closing hours for New Year's Eve will be announced as soon as a cabinet directive has been confirmed. Stay tuned to Radio Cayman 89.9 FM. For further details, please email the Department of Commerce and Investment at info@dci.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. In just about 8-9 minutes until we go to our 1 p.m. headline news. But in case you're just tuning in, very pleased to have in the studio again the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Miss Sabrina Turner, and from Encore's Cayman, Dr. Alexandra Bodden, here talking a bit about an overarching topic of managing stress and looking at resolutions and how to really make 2022 a better year for you, irrelevant to any of the other societal issues that might be going on, especially those linked to, I'm going to say it, the COVID thing. I don't want to say it. I've been trying to avoid saying the word. But the reality is it is a part of daily life now, and learning how to cope with it, especially in the long term, it's an important part of how we stay healthy and well, especially going into 2022. Yep. And Dr. Bonnie, you mentioned, I'd like to just retouch on that topic again, cognitive restructuring.
Yes.
Which is, put that in layman's terms as easy as possible for us.
Changing the way you think.
I love it.
All right. So a lot of times, whatever emotion we have going on, actually, even if we're happy, but if we're sad, if we're angry, if we're worried, right? If we're sad, we see kind of like everything that went wrong or could go wrong. If we're worried, we see everything that could go wrong. And if we are angry, we see everything that the other person did wrong, right? And so our thoughts will amplify whatever emotions that we have. And so, and a lot of times, like if you're anxious about what's going on with COVID, it's like, what am I supposed to do? Did I sanitize my hands? Who did I talk to? What if I get it? What happens to my job? What happens to my family? And our mind starts to race. And a lot of times we catastrophize. We go to kind of worst case scenario of everything. I did that. I tested positive. I went home. I called my mom. I was like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm going to die. So... She was like, what? I was like, I got a positive lateral flow test. I don't know what to do. So if we're worried, we can go that route.
Sure.
If we're angry, this isn't fair. How could they do this? How could they lock me up? How could they put in these regulations? I can't believe I'm stuck in Cayman. I can't believe I can't come to Cayman. Whatever it is, right? We get angry because it's, and we see just like the negative of whatever's going on. If we're more the depressive type, this is horrible. I don't know when this is going to end. How are we going to get out of this? How will we ever recover? Right? So our mind tends to go in different trends. So with cognitive behavioral therapy, which is where the cognitive restructuring comes in, it's beginning to recognize those worry thoughts that kind of trigger off our emotions, and being able to make some changes to it. So, while, whichever route it is, if it's, what am I going to do? What happens if I get sick? What if I'm going to die? It's going to be like, okay. So, and with cognitive restructuring, it's not just switching to happy thoughts, because that's not really going to work. You can be like, everything's great. No. Life is hard, and things are weird right now and difficult right now. So it might be, while I might get sick or something might not go as I hoped, I'm going to keep abreast of the information that's out there. I'm going to do everything I can to look after my body, look after my health, and I'll make sure to touch base with the doctor if I'm not feeling well.
All right. So in the mind of the listener right now, you're in that moment, you're in the heat of that frustration, the anger, your blood's running, your anxiety's at boiling point.
15 out of 10.
At 15 out of 10, exactly. You're just in that moment. So what's the trick then to recognize that, to go out of it, actually step out of yourself for a moment and look back and go,
yep,
you're losing it. Calm down.
Yeah. Okay. Well, and so I'm going to put a caveat on that because it's really hard to do that in the moment.
It is.
So when I work with people in therapy, that's something that we work towards, but a lot of times it happens after the fact. You are going to blow up. You're going to have, an anxiety attack, or you're going to feel really sad, right? And it's going to be afterwards. Okay. What happened? How could I see things differently? What could I do differently in this situation in future, right? The behavioral part of CBT is doing things differently. And if your anxiety is really high, your depression's high, your anger is high, I think knowing as well if you have a history of mental health difficulties, the holidays exacerbate them. Mm-hmm. The global pandemic for sure exacerbates it. All these things are harping on them. So it's even more important for us to be mindful of where our stress levels are at now. But in that moment, do something different. Do some deep breathing. Go for a walk. Deep breathing's great. I find it hard to do if I'm really upset. So I personally prefer to go for a walk, go for a run, lift weights, right? Get outside. Changing your environment is often really helpful. So if you are able to get up and go someplace else, then do it.
So for someone now that's actually in isolation,
and one of the my worst case scenario with the apartment and can't go outside, I'd say get up and move. Put on some music, dance, So that actually, anxiety and stress actually has a very strong physical component to it, right? Which is where it's our body's fight or flight response. And so that's activated in the olden days for us to either fight a lion or run from it. We don't have many lions these days. We can't fight the virus like we would a lion.
Sure.
So what happens is all the adrenaline and everything is activated, but we don't have anywhere to go. So what it comes out instead is anger, extreme anxiety, or physical things, headaches, neck aches, stomach aches, just from where our body's so tense all the time. So that's where, so that's how deep breathing works, is you can't be anxious and relaxed at the same time. But it's also how exercise is really helpful, in that it gets the body moving, gets the blood going, helps to release some of the tension from the muscles, and then helps you to relax in that way. And then it's going to be easier to be like, okay, what's a different way of seeing this, right? Sure. What can I do in this situation that's going to be more helpful, right? You can spend the 14 days in bed, but what's really how are you going to feel at the end, right? As a psychologist also, I will warn you, the more time you spend in bed, it mimics depression, and the sadder you're going to feel, right? So like, sleep is not a great coping mechanism, only if you're sleep deprived. I would suggest get out, get moving, connect with other people. If you have someone that you trust, you can talk to, do that. If not, luckily the government has put in place things like the mental health helpline. You can call, get connected straight to a therapist, and that's during the business hours. But they will then help you decide whether it's worth going in for therapy, if it's something a bit more immediate, more of a crisis, maybe they connect you with the hospital. But you have direct access to a therapist, from your home. Which I think is great.
A phone call away.
Yeah. Many of the therapists on island now do online visits as well. I know my practice does, and most of the other clinics as well do as well, where you can access it it's a video. You can do a video call with the therapist, and most of us have secure links for it. So there's a lot of options available, but the behavioral part is get moving, a lot of times that's helpful.
Breathing and moving.
Sorry?
Breathing and moving.
Exactly. Yeah. To help to get the stress out of your body. And then the cognitive restructuring is kind of stepping back, looking at the bigger picture, right? Yeah. You're in jail versus 2 years in home. Right?
It's a great way of looking at it, though. But it works. If you can put it into that contextual terms, then it works.
But also seeing it as an opportunity, you're home to either connect with family if your family's stuck with you, or to get things done around the house, right? Or just maybe to take on something, just like maybe it's time to finally learn how to do some deep breathing and relaxation practices. I think I want to also be mindful of that. I think that there's a lot of pressure. I've got a couple of memes this morning that you have to be like the new you and better, bigger and better this year. And that's not always the case.
No, sure.
Right? It's about kind of maintaining things and getting through, and that you don't have to prove your existence. So, and you don't have to use those 2 weeks to learn a new skill by any means. Maybe it's just finding some things you used to enjoy, or just doing something around the house to get your mind going.
We have to go to our 1 p.m. headline news in a minute. We have 2 callers on the line as well.
Okay.
But really quick, just when we come back from the break, the conversation we're having around the cognitive restructuring, and it's great for all ages. But when we're talking about the 20 to 30-year-old age bracket, those who are just kind of coming into their own, the young adults, they're in the wooing stages of dating, they're in the early stages of career, they're looking to build their name, build their personal brand, to do themselves, right? It's easy for the 40-year-old or the 50-year-old or the even 35-year-old who's already made some establishments in life to kind of look at it as, I don't have to do the big, I don't have to go big. But when you're 23, 24, just kind of stepping into your own, there's in that back of my mind, I remember being 23, 24, in my head I'm going, go big or go home, go big or go home. Like that's what I had playing in my head, right? Because that's the drive of life. Yep. I'd like to actually touch on how do we talk to the 20 to 30-year-olds, because my guess would be the most unlikely to want to follow certain procedures and protocols will be the 20 to 30-year-old for that very same reason. Yeah. It's all about them and their bubble. But let's go to 1 p.m. headline news, take our 2 callers, and then we'll touch on the younger age bracket. Back with more talk today right after this.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice. Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news. The National Drug Council is hosting its annual New Year's Eve Purple Ribbon Bus tonight, a campaign designed to promote safety and reduce incidents on Cayman roads. Buses are free of charge between 9 p.m. and 2 a.m., both on Grand Cayman and on Cayman Brac. Pickup will be at major bus stops, local bars, restaurants, or anywhere around the strategic route. Check out ndc.ky for more on the Purple Ribbon Bus route, map, and descriptions. In international news, tens of thousands of people have been evacuated and hundreds of homes have been destroyed as wildfires spread through the U.S. state of Colorado. The fast-moving fires are burning in Boulder County, north of Denver, and officials say deaths and injuries are likely as the blazes spread further. A state of emergency has been declared. Officials have warned revelers in Scotland and Wales to think twice before travelling to England to ring in the new year, highlighting how the 4 parts of the UK were again taking starkly different approaches to coronavirus restrictions amid record high infections and soaring hospitalizations. UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson has resisted tightening restrictions in England despite the rapid spread of the highly transmissible Omicron variant, instead focusing on frequent self-testing and an expanded vaccine booster program to control the spread of infections. Those are your latest headlines. I'm Shanda Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And in case you're just tuning in, we have in studio the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Ms. Sabrina Turner, along with Dr. Bodden from Encore's Cayman. I do want to thank our 2 callers for their patience for waiting. We'll take our first caller now. Good afternoon, caller. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. I have a comment for Ms. Turner. Ms. Turner, I wish a special God blessing upon every medical staff in the world.
Mm-hmm.
And then I wish Radio Cayman a prosperous and happy New Year also, and all their staff.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
But most of all, I wish a special blessing upon our staff in the Cayman Islands, every doctor and every nurse. Because you know why? I give them not an A+, but I give them about 10 A+ for what they have done. I'm not going to tell you everything, but I know what they did for me. And special Dr. Movin, I ask a special blessing upon her also. And God will bless you and continue to bless you through this season, which we don't have much time left, and through next year, the next few years.
Thank you,
God
sir.
bless you and keep you and have a wonderful New Year.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for calling in, and Happy New Year to you as well. Good afternoon. We'll take our second caller. Good afternoon, caller. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, the Minister and the Doctor. I have a brief now. Differently now, 2 years ago, with this league, right? I'm going to cardiology, right? Backward to forward now. Okay? Where was it from? See? People underestimate the danger of it, illegal, obviously, right? And the whole context, what I call about now, instinctively, universally, it's a shell shock and traumatizing. See? And whoever can self-soothing mechanism, wherever the phase is, baseline to horizontal, not everyone can handle it. You see what I'm from? So the point I make now, let's say for instance, early on I talk about isolation. Right? Nobody had that. See? So but we need to isolate, you free up. Okay? So like I say again, you said early on, you never know, we all get locked down again. You never know. The previous administration did the right ticket. How do you shut it down? Right? Again, thumbs up for that. But we can't see the future ahead. You understand? So we call before we walk, and Happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you. Thank you, and thank you for your contribution.
Thanks, sir, for calling in. Happy New Year to you as well.
So pretty much it's people are actually acknowledging that no one in this position, having now being able to navigate this as best as we can, there's no guarantees that we will not have to go in a lockdown, because we don't know what's on the horizon. We can only hope for the best. But like what you stated, just how we prepare for hurricane season, like you said yourself, you got a positive, you had to lock down, and you felt bad that you had to call persons because you weren't prepared. I feel moving forward, that's how we should be prepared in the event that, God forbid, you become positive and you're told to isolate, to stay in, that you always have a little stash of something. And more so if you're sick and have medication, or you have children, you have that little stash away, not only for hurricane season, but should you have to be put in lockdown. Now, we're not saying to go out and hoard a lot of stuff, but honestly, just have a little thing on the side that you are okay for at least the first 3 to 5 days. But if for right now we leave here, God forbid, in 24 hours we're positive, I should be okay.
Sure.
Should be okay for at least 3 to 5 days. That may be a different thing if you have a special needs person or children, because we all know what they're like. You're probably not there yet, but I'm quite sure Ray can understand. Think of a home with 3 children that they're constantly eating, and we're finding that out, that we're snacking a bit more. Now, those choices are different when you're not able to go outside. Do we snack on the fries, anything that you pop into the air fryer or the microwave, or do you snack on some healthy fruit pieces? You know, they can only last for so long and no more in the time of the year. What are we snacking? So these are some of the things that you should, granola bars, some nuts, that sort of stuff. These are healthier choices, but preparation and being in isolation, that's a real thing, and I think we need to prepare for it, just like hurricane season.
As unfortunate as that's the case here. It's a 12-month long planning session.
Exactly.
Instead of 6 months.
Yeah, but that would be your control in that situation. Sure. That is something that you can do to help out in that situation. So, it is looking for what is in our control and what we are able to do, and that's the way to help us to feel more on top of what's going on, less like we're just kind of victims of the situation or like having to succumb to whatever is going on around us. Being helpless in a situation can be really difficult.
So. We do have one call on the line, but I wouldn't mind answering that question we had before the break of talking to the 20 to 30-year-olds. Because we're talking about a generation, and I empathize with them. I really do, because I was 21, so we all were. We were all 25 once. Yeah. We were all looking at life through, rose-colored lens, looking for the next excitement, the next dopamine hit, so to speak, if you want to talk in science terms, right? But we were all looking for that next excitement. And now there's the reality where we're told we can't enjoy that.
Yeah.
Or we got to be moderate in our enjoyment of it, or we have to cut it out altogether, depending if you have family members at home who are vulnerable. How do we communicate to them, or do we even try to? But what do you actually say to a generation that rightfully has it in their right to want to enjoy life?
And maybe struggle with the isolation orders.
Or even regulations that they don't feel they're fair. Like, they're not looking at these are regulations for the greater good. Yeah. They're just holding me back.
Yeah. Well, I would say it would be important to figure out what's important to them, right? And going about it that way. So if you're talking if you're the parent, or you're talking if
you're the actual 25-year-old.
Okay, if you're the actual 25-year-old. Yeah, it can be hard at that age to understand, and I agree, I was there as well, to understand the implications of what's going on, right? I think that a lot of us take our health, our wellness for granted. It doesn't really occur to us that, that those things can be taken so quickly and so easily. We see a lot of it, like we said, with alcohol, with drinking, with racing. And so, a lot of, at that age, we take a lot for granted because we don't think it can happen to us, right? Yeah, that happens, but not to me. It happens to other people. And so it can be really hard for them to understand and to appreciate that. But I'd say if you are young and looking at that kind of thing, it's important to be mindful of the consequences and to consider, right? Because even things even if you don't think it can happen, if you are a person who likes to achieve big things, knowing that if you get in trouble at that age, what the impact will be later on. Or looking for what your options are, right? If you are able to get vaccinated, then you can travel, right? Maybe. Okay, that was a huge overgeneralization. But I'd say looking, if you're the parent, especially of this person, talk to them, see what you guys can do. Like I've seen families do really creative setups for the isolation. If the family's vaccinated, not always does everyone have to isolate, right? So it's looking for what options are available within it to make it as easy as possible. Making sure that if you do go into isolation and you are a teen, that you have things set up so you are able to connect with friends. Most of them have so much social media. There's ways of getting around. You can get some cool COVID pictures. I don't know. I thought of doing like a COVID diaries was something I considered. So it's just going to be figuring out ways of making it as easy as possible. But I'd say if you are kind of like the go big or go home, if you are that in an achievement or realm, considering the impact later on. Right, because things like if you get a criminal record, then there's going to be certain positions, certain jobs you can't do, certain places you can't travel. That's only going to work for a few people. But I'd say for the other ones, finding ways of making it most accessible. Getting locked down with nothing is no good, right? So maybe getting some new video games, finding something to make it worth your while. Maybe if you are kind of an achievement one, looking at building up your social media, maybe doing whatever the videos, the vlogs are, right?
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
She'll soon be in that room as a mother of a 23-year-old and a 29-year-old. I'm going to just be real.
We want real.
Okay, it all depends on the environment. Because what issues, if any at all, that I will have with my 23-year-old is not necessarily the same that may not be in a home with both parents or maybe a single parent where mom may have lost a job or dad may have lost their job and have had to switch careers. It is not hard speaking to that age group. I've had the pleasure of doing that during the campaign, and I still have maintained excellent relationships with that age group because I did this for them. I did this to make a difference in creating clear pathways for them. So it is not as difficult as you think. Now, many a times it's positive reinforcement. I have to highlight it. I have to break it down sometimes for them to get it. But trust me, they're more in tune than you think.
It's good to know, actually.
They're more in tune than we think. But they are, as we rightfully say, more risk takers than we are. Look at the times that we are living in now at 22 to 35 to when we were 22 or 35. Mm-hmm. What social media influence? You can become a millionaire just on Instagram. They're not going to think because they're in isolation because they came back from school back in the day, going out in the back and getting that right shot, that right angle, knowing that they're breaching quarantine. They're just looking at the next big hit, all the likes. That's their life, and our life is pretty much different from the age group. But adhering to protocols, whether or not they're going to be for this particular vaccination or not, it's not hard. We just need to be able to welcome them at the table, hear what they have to say, don't downplay them, but their surroundings, where they're coming up from, what resources, what family support that they have at their disposal will actually determine how they respond to regulations. Having a structured home, knowing where the next meal is coming from, some of them don't know where their next meal is coming from. That hinges on going to their best friend. School is not in right now. Some of them got their meals at school because of what we've put in as a government. Sure. Being at home, Christmas times, can't get that next Nintendo or that Xbox, whatever, or you need that $10 card to update the game so that you can remain connected. I just think we need to be a little bit more creative, and through NDC getting more out from the ministry, we intend to collaborate with them more to get the messaging out, but also allows me to get into the schools a little bit more and let them know, not because I'm in this position, that I'm not accessible and that I can't understand you and come down to your level. So they're not as hard as you think to get through to, but they need to feel respected and appreciated, and someone needs to open the door and give them that opportunity.
Thank you. I appreciate the both of you actually sharing on how to actually address, because I was thinking about this the other day, and
she gave you the doctor side.
Yes.
I gave you the hardcore mom side.
Yeah, and that's what, it requires both. It requires the village raising child, right? And it requires this dichotomy of responses that make it work.
Yeah,
we do
I definitely agree with the information, though. They have so much information as well.
Sure.
I think
they're confused.
Giving them room to answer questions is a big thing as
Just
well.
allow them to speak. They are influenced on every smart device, but when that time comes, they sit and they ask you the question. Sometimes you're not even expecting it, and it jolts you. Oh my God, they're asking me, how do I respond? Yeah.
Sure.
But it's because they are more in tuned and in touch than you think. Yeah. And sometimes because we can't answer them in the speed that they want. And sometimes we respond to them not how they're expecting because they know the response. They know it. But, we just got to come on even footing with them and give them a lot more credit than they're due.
Thank you, Minister. I appreciate that.
I agree.
We do have 2 callers on the line. We're going to go to our 1:15 break. When we come back, we'll take both of our callers, and then we'll delve a bit into the resolution side for 2022 and how we can make those come to reality this time. Back to Work Talk today, right after this.
Urban Adolphus Tibbetts Certificate of Honor, 1914 to 1991. Urban Tibbetts was the 12th and last child of William and Henrietta Tibbetts of Kimmenbrack. As a young man, he went to sea for a few years. When he returned home, he served as a police officer for 3 years and then returned to sea. After retiring from sea for the second time, he joined the Public Works Department and within a few years became supervisor. During his years as work supervisor, he supervised the construction of Kimmenbrack Airport, the road to the lighthouse on the bluff, and the road on the south side of the Brack. He did not just supervise the work, but worked along with the men on the job. Urban raised cattle, and when he butchered at Christmas time, he often gave away beef to families who could not pay for it. He was always willing to help those in need. In the early 1950s, he donated the land for Fellowship Baptist Church, and once it was built, he joined the church and became a deacon. Urban was married to Vida McLaughlin, and the couple had 7 children.
We may be in Christmas shopping mode, but 'tis the flu season too. Savannah Pharmacy has immune system boosters for the entire family with a range of vitamins and supplements. Their knowledgeable and courteous pharmacists are always available to offer the best advice and products. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
Are you planning a social, an office party, or event over the holiday season? Make the most of your holiday party and leave the catering to Subway. Choose from small and large sandwich platters, double meat wrap platters, and top it off with optional cookie platters for dessert. Or ask about our Subway Box to Go with the option of a 6-inch or foot-long sandwich, 1 cookie, and 1 bag of chips. Cater your holiday parties with Subway. Visit subway.ky for menu options. Subway. Eat fresh.
Even though you may feel fine, you can still carry and spread COVID-19. Taking a lateral flow test is simple, easy, and lets you know your status. Our actions play a critical role in keeping our community safe. Let's keep working together. For more information on lateral flow testing and how to report a positive result, visit www.gov.ky/coronavirus.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And again, pleased to have in studio the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Ms. Sabrina Turner, and Dr. Alexander Bodden from Encore's Cayman. We're going to delve a bit into our resolutions, whether it be financial resolutions or any kind of resolutions you might be making for 2022. But we do have 2 callers on hold, which we'll take right now. Good afternoon, caller. Thanks for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for calling.
Thank you so much for hosting, and thank you, Radio Cayman, for absolutely being part of who you are to our community. I'd like to thank our Honourable Minister for being in this space at this time, considering the demand on every aspect of our life.
Yes.
I'd like to thank her for realizing that her DNA will not let her down, her grandparents.
No.
And the Cayman Brat wisdom that seeps through, the Mariner's wisdom, and her mom.
That's right.
I'd just
Thank
like
you.
just like to let her know that we're praying, because these are challenging times, but we know that we've got a warrior on our side.
Oh, yeah.
I'd like to thank Dr. Bodden. I'd like to please thank her for her remarkable contribution, not only in our community in terms of our practice, but also for taking time out to give her time on radio. And this is charitable time that's given to our public free of cost to enable us at this time, this critical juncture, to manage our mental health. I'd also like to thank her clinical group for providing this invaluable resource in the PSAs that they have been doing. I'd like them to understand that people are listening, they're taking note, and they're using those PSAs to manage by the minute. You will not understand what it means unless you're probably sitting in some of those people's shoes who can't come to your office, but who listen to a PSA done around mental health and guidance, and it helps in that very minute. And I'd also like to thank you all for understanding that our community is responding to you. My Rotary Club, Rotary Central, has dedicated our entire year to mental health.
Yes.
And that means we're supporting the Halfway House in West Bay, and we are supporting the help hotline, in addition to the Alex Panton Foundation. We understand our commitment to community, and we are holding your hand in trying to make sure that this will work. Our resolutions this year is we're going to see this through, just like we have seen through hurricanes and wars and challenges. Yeah. And we're going to be survivors.
That's right.
On the other end of this. Have a wonderful New Year. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Same to you. Thank you.
Very happy New Year, caller.
Yes,
thank you so much for calling. And our second caller, good afternoon, caller. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Happy New Year to you all.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Mr. Singh?
Yes. Hello.
I'm begging your favor.
What can we do for you?
I'm begging you to give my MP the toughest question.
The toughest question.
The toughest question.
I'm kind of scared now. Can you ask it for me?
No. You are going to get an answer.
I will get the answer. I promise you.
If she was in your seat, I don't think you would answer the question.
Oh boy, this is a tough one.
Because yes, she always have tough question to ask. So I am listening, and I want to wish her a happy New Year when it comes.
Thank you.
But I'm listening to the question that you are going to ask her and listening for the answer.
All right.
Okay.
You tell me what I got to ask her.
No, I'm not going to ask her. I want you to ask her, because if she was in your seat, which she always do, and she always asks tough questions.
Now I get it. So I have to come my
He's
own
trying
hard
to do the rules in reverse.
All right, so I'm going to have to wait till after the 1:30 break. I have to think up a hard question here.
Bye-bye, then.
For you,
Thank you.
Happy
New Year. Thank
Happy
you
New
for
Year.
your
Thank you so much.
Happy New Year, my MP. Bye-bye.
Sure, bye-bye.
Happy New Year. I promise I'll get that question. I'm going to figure it out. I don't know how we can kind of wrestle the options
but
here.
No pressure.
No pressure
None
at all.
whatsoever.
I'm not sure which one of us he threw under the bus with that one.
I think we both got there.
So jumping into resolutions.
Yeah.
Every year, this is a topic I like talking about. I have a background in the wellness sector, in the fitness sector, and the coaching sector. There's always a scenario where people like to make resolutions, don't quite come through with it.
Mm-hmm.
This year, there's been a trend where I've noticed people are not making the same
Same old.
Big resolutions.
Yeah.
It's not the I'm going to get better shape. It's not these generic resolutions. They're not even big resolutions. It's a lot of the times it's I just want to keep on improving on what I did last year, or I want to, just keep moving forward and not fall back.
Yeah.
Any resolutions for yourselves? That's not your question, by the way.
Difficult question.
But that may be a difficult one in my position. No, I think it's more realistic. Many of times we pretty much we biting it off in big chunks. And then it becomes too overwhelming because then life hits. It's one thing when you imagine or you feel within yourself, this is what you want to accomplish. This is my desire. And then there's another thing of when reality hits. And then you get all these other layers that pile onto it. And that is one of the biggest changes that I've had to make in my life since being sworn into office. I live life and I take challenges pretty much an hour at a time. It is so hard understanding with my role and my responsibility. I cannot honestly tell you or plan even for the end of January, because it is based on the next report. It is based on the next what's happening globally. And that's somewhat similar to in my personal life. I get up and I give God thanks every morning, and I reach out, as I normally do, to all of my family, as much as they may hate it. But you know what? I will try it. Yes, exactly. But I just give thanks for the moment, and I move within that moment. And I think it comes to the same way with resolutions and New Year's. Just take small steps, because you don't want to make a resolution. I'm going to get up and I'm going to go to the gym every day. I'm going to definitely make it until 6 months. When you know that's not a part of your life if you have 4 children. Or I'm going to walk every evening 3 miles, when you know based on your job that you will be into work until 7 p.m. And then you feel like you have lost when you haven't. It's just being realistic and taking life in small bits and not big chunks. And if one thing since 2020 has taught us, it can stop in an instant and you adjust. And that's how I feel. We need to embrace life a little bit more, taking it hour by hour and just giving God thanks for everything that you've gone through thus far, and still being optimistic and hopeful about moving forward.
So many things I could talk about. That 3-minute gap that you felt. Right? Like I had the vision of a boxer, as you were describing, like the work you're doing. You're waiting for the next report, like a boxer, waiting for the next punch to learn how to dodge it.
Or the commentary, on news blogs, or whatever is happening in your community chat, and you honestly have to. What battle am I going to take on now? Nothing disrespectful. No, I'm not ignoring, but when you're in your ministry, assisting with making regulations and policies, do you want to be distracted by a negative comment? Because I know at the end of the day, there will be an explanation to explain, or when it all comes to the front, it will actually fizzle itself out. It's managing. It's honestly doing that and doing it in advance.
Yeah.
You have to do that.
For it, preempting it.
Yeah.
And having a planned response for difficult situations is often really helpful.
For the good, the bad, and the ugly, pretty much.
Agreed.
And so Dr. Bodden, same to you. Any New Year's resolutions, and how do you kind of want to talk on?
I probably should have prefaced your request with this that I don't really believe in resolutions.
I like it. All right.
Because I think that change can happen anytime. Right, I think when we set up the big resolutions for January, first of all, January 1st is a terrible time to start.
Horrible one.
Because you're up till after midnight.
You're tired.
A lot of people are eating a lot, drinking a lot. You're worn out from the holidays, preparing for work. So it's really not a great day to start new.
Because you make your excuse already. You have your first excuse and you failed the first day.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's a lot of times how we feel.
Exactly.
It has to start January 1st, otherwise it's no good. And so it's these kind of expectations that come in that actually set us up for failure. So I actually loved the examples that you gave and what Mr. Turner was saying was that, that it has to be realistic and congruent with what's going on in your life, right? If you've never been to the gym, going to the gym every day is absolutely not going to happen.
You're going to need the wardrobe. You're going to need the right outfit. Oh, do I look too big in this? Why are you worried
You're
about that?
You're going to need the recovery time. After day 2, you go, I can't move.
But that's exactly why the gym is difficult.
Exactly.
I encourage people to think outside the box, but having smaller, more manageable, more realistic goals is going to set you more up for success. For example, one of mine, so I do have goals, I just don't call them resolutions, was to cut back on drinking soda. Because that's not good for you. But that's a simple one that I can tell if I made it or not every day. But it's going to be having a plan before you quit, So I had my teas ready to go because I like to have things other than water. I do drink a lot of water, but I do like to have something else. So having my teas ready to go, the ones that I like, having a couple different varieties, to set yourself up for success. So whatever it's going to be, whether it's going for the walk, going to the gym, having your gear ready if you're going to the gym, having a plan made. Like, I prefer to work out by myself. I don't like to work out with other people. There's some awesome classes that I go to, but, if it's just going to be going for a walk or a run or something, I prefer to do it by myself. So I tell people you don't have to do it the way everyone else does it. Think outside. I ride horses and I do aerial acrobatics. I very much believe in thinking outside the box, finding something that's fun.
Yeah.
And there's so much technology these days that can be really helpful in that, and making it exciting. If you're achievement oriented, like my Fitbit does a dance. It has like lights that go off and little pictures that come up if I make it to my step goal. I think one of the examples he gave maybe on the break was getting enough sleep. That's actually my biggest goal with my Fitbit is getting enough sleep. So I get a warning when it's time to go to bed. I wake up in the.
Do you snooze it?
Yes.
That was my hard question.
Occasionally, if I'm doing something really important.
Yeah, you'll snooze it.
But things like less social media, I said I've been forced into that because my phone now won't go on to Facebook.
Sure, yeah.
But, you can put things on that tell you, if you've ever put on the timer to see how much time you spend on social media. So understanding your habits first is often the place to start. It's understanding how much soda you're drinking, how much time you're spending on social media. If it's going to, a lot of people are maybe more active than they think, and things like walking the dog, they don't consider physical activity, but all of that counts. So it might just be kind of starting with what's actually happening, because a lot of us get very black and white with, I don't work out. Right, but you walk the dog 3 times a day, and maybe that adds up to a mile. So it's to start with just understanding what's going on, and understanding your goal. Where are you trying to go? Is it just get healthy? Is great, but what does that mean? Is it going to mean dropping sodas? Is it going to mean eating more vegetables? Is it going to be getting enough sleep? And if you can find ways of seeing, of quantifying it at all, then that can be helpful as well, because, even if you get half an hour more sleep, you may not be at the recommended 8, but it might be 7 hours or 5, right? Whatever it is.
Oh, sorry, you're a mom. When's the last time you got 8 hours of sleep in a night?
Don't look at my Fitbit.
Minister Turner, when's the last time you got 8 hours of sleep in a night?
No, a long time. It's a long time. I'm usually settling down after 2. But I'm hearing all of this, and what just comes to the top of my mind? When last have any of us really tapped in and get to know who we are?
Sure.
Yeah.
We're trying to be everything for everybody else.
Absolutely.
And you have not had the time to really tap in to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great question. I actually want to talk on that.
That's
one.
your difficult question.
Well, I do this on a regular basis. I actually want to jump onto that one when we come back. I think a big part of our resolutions comes down to that fundamental thing is we're trying to chase something when
you're trying to be something. Mm-hmm. You're steered by social media. Gotta have the perfect body. Gotta have the best thing. Your eyeliner has to be the best. I'm so grateful my hairstylist is back. Yes, I'm back. But I survived.
Yeah.
Who am I?
No, because I saw a great post on this the other day, and it really jogged this whole resolution conversation. The boss is telling me to go to a commercial break, so
Susan, she's good at that.
You might be the minister, but she's the boss here today. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
On that note, let's go to a commercial break. Come back. We'll be resuming our conversation on resolutions with the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Ms. Sabrina Turner, and Dr. Bodden from Encore's Cayman.
Cash is a must this Christmas. J&M Cash Money Christmas. Send or receive funds with the J&M Money this holiday season to win big.
Call 1-800-744-1163 for details.
Stay clean, stay safe, hey man. Reflections sells gallons of sanitizer for only $25. Buy 2 clip-on sanitizers for just $5. Reflections has the best KN95 masks or reusable cloth masks, and you can get 2 for only $5. Blue surgical masks and face shields are available for children and adults, as well as 10 and 50 packs of black surgical masks. Volume discounts available at Reflections. Jose's Rubus, Reflections Hemp and Tobacco, all 5 Liquor for Less locations, and Food for Less open 24 hours every day. Don't miss the Liquor for Less incredible priced better markdown. Hundreds of fine from $2.99. Cases of ice cold below wholesale prices. Save $10 off liters of absolute exclusively at Liquor for Less. Prices so low we can't say them on the radio.
Make your house into a home. Welcome to Brand Source Home Gallery, your source for premium products and a premium experience. We'll design and install your dream kitchen with crafted cabinets, complemented with elegant appliances. We'll fill it with quality houseware and cookware. Custom-designed closet and storage solutions organize and beautify any area. And with the finest bedding, you'll get a perfect night's sleep knowing Brand Source Home Gallery has everything you need to make your house a home.
Wow, looks good. What is that?
Chicken chair.
What did you just say to me?
Chicken chair.
I am not a chicken.
Whoa! I said chicken share. It's from KFC. Bucket of 12 hot wings, 6 pieces of chicken, or 8 tenders. KFC chicken share. Just $12 each.
Oh.
Want some chicken, tenders, or hot wings?
You're sharing your chicken share with me?
The new chicken share from KFC, just $12 each, and it's finger-licking good. Dine at KFC Baytown Plaza, KFC Shedden Road, or KFC at the Strand.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And again, please have in studio Dr. Alexander Bodden from Encore's Cayman and the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Ms. Sabrina Turner. We've been kind of jumping on a little bit, started the show discussing the past 2 years and what it's meant for what our next year will look like and how we can cope better with some of the changes as they come, which the reality is they might very well be coming at any point in the year, as we look at what our neighbors and around the world what's happening. But now looking to 2022 and changing the word from resolutions to, miniature goals that we want to tackle over the course of the year to make us better. Minister, you mentioned before the break, getting more in touch with who we are, who each individual is as a person. Walk us through what you mean further by that.
Many a times we emulate what we think other people want us to actually be, or who they want us and how they want us to act and behave and dress and look. Sure. And many a time that is so far south from really what we want. It is being able to just really embrace yourself, slow down, actually everything that you have wanted, or pretty much of what you wanted in life, shouldn't be steered by somebody else. Sure. It should be what you're happy with. You find the best of yourself, and that is what you will give to others. You will find that if you align yourself with that you are more embraced, you're more accepted, and you have a better approach, and even the aura around you in your home and amongst your friends improves because you are living your life. You are embracing who you are. But that doesn't happen when you're trying to be someone that you're not, or living above what is realistic for what's in your,
yes, of course, what
you can afford, then put it, if you have to put a price tag to it.
There's a cost there. There's also an opportunity cost though when you have someone an individual who's kind of fallen into their way of being, and they've got the people in their lives that are who they consider to be their friends, and they copy their friends, or their friends copy them, whichever it might be. it could be a little scary to try to break away from the mold you've established for yourself. What do you say to encourage people to actually make that next big bold step and say
that's maturity? And you have friends, and the only thing I can pretty much do a description or an analogy to is like a tree. Everyone comes in your life for a reason, and as you evolve and mature, you get gravitated to other people that are like-minded and pretty much for who you are evolving, who you're becoming, what you're evolving. And you don't even have to end on a raw note. Sometimes because your paths are totally different, they just automatically fall away. You still have that contact, but it's not as deep as it was like when we were in our 20s, for example. That's just life. You just start subscribing, and it's simply like on your social media pages. The algorithms for what you like is changed now from even a year or 2 years ago because it's what you're subscribing to.
Sure.
That is who we attract into our lives. And what I've noticed, and thank God with maturity and in age, you're discerning more. That sharpens the older you get. And that is why we were speaking about how do you reach to the age 20s and the 35s or the 18s to 35s. In time, you impart your knowledge on them, and you're more you have more tolerance. You have a bit more patience. Less things bother you. You don't fly off the handle as quickly as you don't lose. You don't fly the coop too easy because you're reflecting back on who you were. So you're more tolerant of persons. But what I'm finding is that people are not embracing enough and understanding enough for someone who hasn't reached that point yet. If you get,
I do know I follow you all the way.
We haven't gotten there, and that is why a certain age group feels that they're left out. And with everything the stresses that we're facing with, even parents are losing patience with their children. And that's when you really need to come a little more together. So groups through friends who are non-judgmental. Like I shouldn't feel any way of really having a bad day calling you as a dear friend and you're not judging me because I'm going through a stupor. And then I'm hearing it to the doctor here, even though we're all friends. I came to you. I didn't come to all three. I didn't come to you at the same time. There's a reason why I wanted you to know what I was going through at that time. Dr. Bodden shouldn't have to hear it from you. That diminishes the respect that I have for you. Yeah. So even though we may be all in the same friendship circle, each one has their own level, and we need to start respecting that a little bit more, but listen more as well, and stop being judgmental. Because we all have our needs. Yep. And we're all struggling or fighting some battle of our own. And I think that if we just break that little culture instead of judging one because we fall down a little bit, that we can be a better society in moving forward. So these are powerful, personal little tweaks in our behaviors. And I think can make us even better people and a better community moving forward.
Nailed it.
And I think knowing that it's okay for your needs to change over time.
Exactly.
I liked what you said about how paths may separate. I think that that's the thing, is that these big changes that a lot of times we try to make at the beginning of the year, figuring out if we know who we are, we can make better goals that are more consistent with where we're going. When I have clients that have extreme goals like that, my question is always like, what are you hoping will be different at that stage? Right? Because a lot of times if it's like to lose weight, it's because I want to learn to love myself, right? Or I want to be accepted by others, right? So a lot of times there's other things that they're trying to achieve by that, but that's the socially accepted and expected way of going about doing things. So if we're able to understand ourselves and what we're trying to achieve, then that can help us choose more appropriate goals, hopefully more realistic ones as well, and keep us on that path. But it's going to be the day-to-day decisions that will get us to where we want to be.
So, starting point, someone's listening right now, 38 years old, mom of 2, struggles a bit financially. She's single, wants to date next year, can't find Mr. Right, has a couple toxic friends that she doesn't get along with very well, but they're her social network, they're her sister, so to speak. She wants to make certain changes. What's her starting point? Is it to start journaling? Is it to start writing some notes down? Is it to write diary? What is it?
I'm going to give you a typical psychologist answer with it depends. But right, so journaling is great. I will tell you, I don't like journaling. I'm also very honest with things. Before I ask anyone to do anything, I try it. I'm not a big fan of the traditional journaling. I have many clients it's very helpful for. It's a great way to get things out because so often things get so mushed up in our head, we never really get a chance to really process it and think about it and clarify things. And they just kind of amplify the emotions. So journaling can be a great way to get the emotions out, to clear our heads, to make sense of what's going on, a way of getting to know ourselves because sometimes things come out that we didn't even know were bothering us. That can be great. That can be a part of it. It might be trying something new. It might be looking for therapy or even getting a coach if you're making just some smaller changes in your life. So, and that can be helpful for having an objective third-party person, so someone who's not involved in your life at all, who's not got a vested interest. I know Caymanians are always worried about our business being on the street, just like your example.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's why even though therapy isn't, is not something that we traditionally did in Cayman, and I know, and I tell you that I took a risk becoming a psychologist. I had faith in Cayman, and it's working. I think that can be really helpful because it's someone who's legally bound to not share your secrets, who's there for you to understand what's going on with, for you and help you understand yourself, learn about yourself, pick the best goals for you and help you figure out your way of reaching there as well. And I think that's something that is helpful going through a lot of things. I think your scenario had a lot of difficult situations there.
It did.
Yeah.
Say she got the hard one. Don't worry, yours is coming.
I want to weigh in when she's
yeah, but then you get a chance to talk about things, right? Because her ex is probably still around. Yeah. Her friends are bitter because they've been through hard times too, right? The friends know the ex. They don't want to hear about you going back with him, right? And if you plan something with him, they're going to judge you for that, and then you got to hear it from them, and then your mom has an opinion too, right? You don't want to tell anyone what you're doing, and it gets very difficult and complicated.
You get pushed into this little hole in your head.
Exactly, and you still have to be mom to the two kids, right?
Which
and
is
that's
number one.
Right, and that's where having a separate support system sometimes can be helpful, and that you have someone who's separate, who's there for you, who's able to hear your side of things. Therapists will talk to other people too. If I'm working with people and I'm like, this just isn't making sense, or I think it'd be really helpful if we got, partner in, grown child in, young child in, right, parent in, to have some of those conversations. Sure. It can be helpful to have that outside person there. And luckily in Cayman, we actually have the counseling center, which offers services free of charge. Which you might be connected to through that mental health helpline, or you can give them a call at 949-8789. I think that's really helpful.
How about the chasing of small wins? Like in that situation, like just making the small miniature changes, whatever it might be, until she actually gets some kind of...
That was a huge win. Yeah. She's identified,
yes.
I want change.
I want change.
I just waited for Dr. Bodden to finish. I mean, that is a huge win. She's identified, yeah. I want change. I want better. That's a huge win in itself. Then wherever that courage came from in order to lock into oneself and identifying that they want change, they will get the strength to deal with that, the father of that child or children, and have the strength to really manage those friends who may be saying what they would do when they're not that person. Sure. And it will probably pull the wool off of her eye to say, well, maybe they're not the friends that you need in your life for this change that you have just suddenly woken up and identified. And then you'll have the strength then to even deal with the family members who are telling you again, why are you? What do you want? One has to align with oneself in order to get the strength to move on. And trust me, I have seen it in my own personal lives, that people come into your lives when you least expect it, but at your lowest point when you're at that point in your life where you're making change. So for the scenario that you've given, there's a huge win there because they've already tapped into identifying. They're already aware. And I'm not a psychologist, but I hope I'm not wrong.
No, you're absolutely right.
That sounds
you're absolutely
right. You nailed it. I think it's actually from a coaching standpoint.
Yeah.
Somebody who wants to start that progressive start to change has to say, I want to actually make the improvement.
It takes the strength. And I mean, not being at all, we're just speaking in general because we have women usually have to juggle a lot. We have men that are performing both roles are well, but it's just that our intuition, it takes a lot more to be successful, and it's, in my humble opinion, we're expected to do a lot more and to be this tower of strength at all times. Absolutely. And I feel that we are somewhat need that enforcement from like-minded women, and more in order for us to progress forward. But the mere fact of being able to identify that scenario that you gave wants change is a huge win, and they're well on their way.
Thank you so much for that. A like-minded woman in the studio in the back, though, is going break.
Again?
So, let's take a quick commercial break. Back to more Talk Today right after this.
Savannah Pharmacy. Shop local and get a head start on your Christmas shopping. For ladies' handbags, clothes, shoes, fragrance, candles, and cosmetics with the newest Farmhouse Fresh line of skincare. For the gentlemen, clothes, shoes, fragrances, gift sets, and toys and games for the kids. Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs. And convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan. We're here for you. Please be advised that the pension contribution holiday has been extended until 31st of March, 2022. Employers and plan members should ensure arrangements are in place for salary deductions and remittance following this date. The Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce Pension Plan, keeping you informed. For further information, visit chamberpension.ky. And for information as it happens, follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram. Email admin@pensions.ky or call 745-7630. We're here for you.
Shop at Funky Tanks, the home of electronics and more. Make sure to check out Funky Tanks' 2 locations, Shedden Road and Countryside, Savannah, for loads of fireworks for your Christmas and New Year's celebrations. Also, new stock has just arrived. Funky Tanks, both locations, open 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., December 20th to December 23rd. And on Christmas Eve, open 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Open 8 a.m. to 9 p.m., December 29th and 30th. New Year's Eve, open 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Funky Tanks. For more information, call 949-0998. Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year from the management and staff of Funky Tanks.
It's the holiday season and time to be merry, cherry, and bright. And nothing feels better than giving to your favorite local charity. This season, take an extra minute or two to make sure your charity is a registered nonprofit with the Cayman Islands government. You can find the list of registered nonprofit online at ciregistry.ky. We'd hate to see your money end up in the wrong hands, and we're sure you do too. So keep giving, Cayman. Just double check who you're giving to. A message from the Registrar of Nonprofit Organizations.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're just tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and very pleased to have in studio the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Ms. Sabrina Turner, and Dr. Bodden from Encore's Cayman, discussing now I'm going to use resolutions. I'll use goals, 'cause I like that. It's a winning choice of change for that word. But talk about goals for 2022 and how we can go about accomplishing it better. And we started this little part of the segment off on knowing thyself, people knowing who they are inside, what they actually want, and having that desire for change to actually go out and achieve some of those goals. So before the show, we actually printed out a few different kind of resolutions. And what I liked about these resolutions this year is they were very different from the standard of quit smoking, slow down my drinking, go to the gym more, save some more money. They were very broad kind of goals. And most fitness trainers will tell you that if you don't actually if you don't say I want to lose 10 pounds and actually identify what you want to lose and the time frame that you're going to lose it in and when you're going to actually go to the gym, you're not going to actually achieve those goals, right? But some of these actually I thought were really, really cool. So 3 of the kind of rules were, 1, it shouldn't be too hard of a goal or resolution. Don't set that big blockade of I'm going to be in the next Mr. Universe contest. That's not the way to go about achieving it, right? Don't make it too complicated. Make it something that you can easily get up and do. If you have to rearrange your entire children's school after school schedule to make it's just not going to happen. You can't rearrange everything.
Right.
And they have to be realistic. You actually can accomplish it in the amount of time you want to do it. I'm not going to lose 100 pounds in 1 week.
Right.
It's got to be something you can actually go. So the first one, which is something that I could probably easily use and most of us could, is go to bed on time, which I thought was absolutely brilliant. And I'm not sure how easy that is for either of you.
You can try.
Juggling your responsibilities, but getting at least trying to get a reasonable amount of sleep, sufficient enough. They say the 8 hours is the recommended. I don't know many that are getting 8 hours. I definitely don't.
I can't tell the last time 8 hours.
No.
But the quality is sleep, even if it's 3 hours, where you kind of shut off. But doing that on your smart devices in bed and then trying to go down after, and you may see an email pop in on your smart device that just got you going.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I think technology can be really helpful, because you can get certain apps for your phone that stops it. You can get some that help you to relax, but I've got one that I don't hear messages come in. I mean, I have emergency contacts that the phone will ring, but my phone doesn't ring after a certain time. You can have it where it will shut off. You can turn off the blue light at a certain time. Better to get off the devices an hour before you're trying to go to sleep. But there's certain things you can do to mitigate it.
And after you get up in the morning, first thing you'll do is check that phone. And I have a rule, it's at least 2 hours before I'll touch my phone in the morning. And the rule is, but I get up earlier. But it's there for a reason. I don't want to distract someone else needs my time if they're messaging me in the morning. I have no desire for someone else to interfere with my time in my time. Okay. That makes sense. And
that's fair.
It's appropriate selfishness is what I would call it.
Self-care.
It's self-care.
Yeah.
And it's appropriate.
Well, and people will learn. If you don't answer the phone, after 8 o'clock at night, after 10 o'clock at night, before 7 a.m., people will learn, and then they know. Well, I can't reach him now, so I'll give him a call at 8 o'clock. Sure. Right, and people generally, I think, try to respect that if it's not an emergency. Sometimes families not as much with that, but if you have certain things, you probably have certain people you don't call at that time.
No,
right? You learn who you can and who you can't. But if you've got certain boundaries like that, then a lot of times people will learn that and will respect that. Yeah. If it's a new thing, they may try it.
Sure.
But I think making technology work for you, as many problems as technology causes, there's a lot of good things that can come from it.
There's an app, Calm app, that you can have raindrops on a tin roof, and then you'll hear sounds of thunder in the background, or you'll have a stream or something, and then you have I tried it once, and it had me going when I was younger, living right down the road from here, and really reminiscing as childhood, sleeping in a house with a zinc roof. And I didn't know anything until the next morning. Yeah. I went to sleep.
Yeah.
I've got lots of clients that swear by their sleep stories.
Yeah.
So they've got lots of stories that help to put you to sleep. Yeah. Calm is one. Headspace helps with meditation. Yeah. There's one called Smiling Mind, which does a lot of different relaxation exercises as well.
So what was the last one called?
Smiling Mind.
Smiling Minds.
And a lot with the pandemic, a lot of them have even more free resources, because Calm has cool stuff in the free area. Yes. You can pay and get a whole lot more.
Sure.
So I accidentally did that for a month.
But Calm is really good.
How about just leaving the phone out the room, getting the old school alarm clock and using that as your wake up, and just getting the phone away from your physical presence?
Are you kidding me? Separation
that's
anxiety.
The most common response I get is, I can't do that.
It's really hard, but I'd say that depends on your responsibilities.
Yes,
so,
thank you.
Because I have horses, I have horses and kids, and so a lot of times, if it's hard if you're a parent. Yeah. But having things like that program that I got, where my emergency contacts can call me after the time that I set, or if someone calls me 3 times in 15 minutes, it allows it to ring through. Yeah. So you can find different apps that are actually really helpful with that, so that way it is there. You can have it where it will shut off social media at a certain time as well.
Is the next one that actually eliminates
that actually stops it.
Or,
So there are certain things. So it might just searching those kind of apps out.
Yep.
But it's
making
mutually
it work for you.
It's mutually respect as well, because you could be living with a partner or spouse that has very highly stressed jobs or very demanding job, and where you would actually carve out time for yourself, the partner is not doing it, and it comes, well, if you can't beat them, join them, and then nobody gets that downtime, and that can cause anxiety. You can become very anxious and angry, and you just need to find that balance, even if it's for an hour. If it's that hour earlier of shutting off, if you can, at least that time to reconnect, because the human interaction is still critical and key for a home.
I have two more here. That's the next one. Make new connections.
There we go.
Human interaction. We have to go to our 2 p.m.
I'm still trying to do coffee with you.
We still do coffee. We're on a year. I think it's on 8 months now.
8 months.
Funny how the timing of that might have...
Maybe that should be a resolution.
Yes. In that coffee.
Here's the question. And the last one, which we're going to come to after our headline news, is to laugh out loud at least once a day.
We've done that a number of times so far today.
After our 2 p.m. headline news, we have a treat for all of our listeners out there. Back with more Talk Today right after this.
Today's biggest news.
Radio K-Man.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio K-Man's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
From Friday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, retail bars will be permitted to open until 2 a.m. on Friday nights only, with liquor sales ceasing at 1:50 a.m. Also, only on Friday nights, retail nightclubs may operate until 4 a.m., although sales must cease at 3:50 a.m. Nightclubs will also be able to remain open from 12:01 a.m. to 4 a.m. on Monday, January 3rd, which is the New Year's Day public holiday. In international news, minimum wage increases, animal protections, police accountability, cutting and increasing taxes are all a part of a series of new laws taking effect across the U.S. on Saturday, the first day of 2022. Some of the laws, such as abortion restrictions in New Hampshire or police reform measures passed in Illinois, Oregon, and North California, address some of the most contentious issues of our time. New coronavirus infections soared again in Australia on Friday to a record of more than 32,000, just days after surpassing 10,000 for the first time. Experts say the explosion is being driven by the highly contagious Omicron variant and a recent relaxation of restrictions in Sydney and other areas. More than 15,000 of the new cases were reported in Sydney. Those are your headlines. I'm Shana Gallego.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio K-Man on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio K-Man app or log on to our website, radiokman.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio K-Man's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. In case you're only now tuning in, I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and pleased to have a part of this special New Year's Eve broadcast in studio, the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Miss Sabrina Turner, along with Dr. Bodden from Encore's K-Man, talking about setting goals for New Year's and how we can go about achieving those goals, especially given some of the turmoil of the past 2 years. And some of the funny, or not funny, but smaller goals, like going to bed on time or getting better sleep. Making new social connections, whether you're in the office, at the grocery store, at the bank, in line, going to new workout routines, whether it's yoga, making new connections, social connections throughout the world. And the other one was laughing out loud at least once a day. So on that note, on that third goal, we have one of K-Man's newest celebrities, Ann Kla, who has just released her new 2022 predictions, which we're going to play for you now. You're hearing for the first time ever in K-Man, right here live on Radio K-Man.
How you say you doing? This Aunt Clyde dress up today. I got plans today to go on the road, but I still on 2 minutes talk to now because 2021 has booked that year. I'm looking forward to 2022. I hope it'll be better. But Aunt Clyde got some advice and predictions for 2022. And I want to hear it. Now, my advice now, I got to drop this little advice, and I can pick it up if I don't want, because it's free. Next year, my charge, you know. This is free advice, wanna. And I can take it if I don't want. I want to try pick up on the Bible. Dust it off and read it. And read it good. You know, these Cayman Islands full of prayer warriors, you know. When they pray, we get things done. They pray furiously, you know. Don't play with them. We bless. Want to give thanks. And in the hurricane season that just passed, I hope and I'm grateful. God has been good. He has been good to this Cayman Islands. Except for that worthless Grace. She was something, eh? Jesus. Help us. And he did. As I mentioned before, he took all my fruit trees. But one thing about it, them fast and people that riding them bicycle with stick and all, I bet you don't want to get no more fruit. Not from my trees, at least. That teach them. Grace fixer. I gotta go replant now my mango tree, pear tree, avocado, that we call it, and my lime tree. Yes, took all of them, my child. Coconut tree, everything. I don't know if I'm great. But anyway, I'm still thankful, you know. I got life. You gotta be thankful, you know. Common sense. You know, plenty of people on this island got good upstairs, you know. That mean good education. But they lack common sense. Common sense, as they say, not too common, you know. Ah, child. When the good Lord was passing common sense around, that just went past certain people, you know. Long story short, people with upstairs, good upstairs, on a try take advice from people with common sense. Because it's information on a need to hear. Well, I'm glad looking at 2022. Everybody racing now to go to space, you know. Imagine Aunt Clap in space. I would clean up a lot of that clutter up there, you know. By the time I finish with them, everything up there clean. Because you know I'm cleanly. I like cleanliness. But everybody now, all the rich people, racing now to get to space. They better worry about heaven. That what they need to worry about, concern themselves with. See if they could get to that pearly gate. On a pray. 2022. Gotta be better. On a think positive. Because 2022 can't get no worse. It gotta get better. But then it's up to us to think little positive thoughts. I can't stand negative people, you know. All they do is complain, and then I got no solutions. But I'm glad I got some. All they gotta do, call me. I'll give it away for free. That's the little advice I got. I got it up here, you know. And I went to a big time college. But I'm full of common sense. That's right. I hope 2022 will be a better year for all the whole world. Virus, I call it a plague. Read on a Bible. And as you get up, just as you open your eyes, pray. Get down on your knees and pray and thank God. And Caymanians, my fellow Caymanians, when I got one little job, plenty of people I got job, you know. But if I got one little job, I want to show up on time. If you got to be there 7:30, show up 7:15. Get there in time. Because the other day, one girl called her boss, right? And said that her car got flat tire. That's why she late. She didn't even got a car. She now got one car, so I don't know what kind of lie that was. Try show up on time. Don't give them no excuse to get rid of them, you know. Show up on time and give the job your best. And as for the people speeding, on a slow down. We're not going so fast. These islands are only so long. We're not going. And on the indicate. Take your old big foot off that gas and stop driving so fast. And remember, click it or ticket. And drive sober or you're going to get pulled over, you know, by the Royal Cayman Islands Police Service. They're not playing, you know. And when I'm driving, pay attention to the road. Put all two hands on that steering wheel and look at the road and stop looking at your phone like it's a mirror. 2022, I'm going to start buying up a little remote equipment. I'm going to need it. Aunt Clark predictions for 2022. We need more love. We need more kindness. You know what I wish? that company would get a vaccine for? Begrudgefulness. I wish there was a vaccine for disagreeableness. Yes, sir. I wish there was a vaccine for crabs in a bucket mentality. I wish there was a vaccine for envious people. Yes, disagreeableness. Yes, sir. That would they make vaccine for. Anyway, that's our clear little advice for 2022. I hope and I have a very safe ending of 2021 because it need to go. And make 2022 the best year ever. Wanna stop selling out on the land. Save some for your grandchildren. Have a wonderful 2022. Don't drink and drive. You want to arrive alive. Enjoy on a New Year's Eve, but make it a safe one. I'm coming back in 2022 with Cousin Mabel. We got something for her. And class signing off. Have a wonderful, safe, prosperous 2022. I'm gone till later on.
And that was K-Man's own Aunt Cla.
Well, I think I need to meet her.
I got tears like at my eyes, actually, you know.
That was amazing.
It was great. Like it's so topical. It's perfect for today's conversation.
Yeah.
A little bit of comic, comedy in there, and some real tangible advice that we can all look at and go, yeah.
Dr. Bodden, would you say she's what we wish we could say sometimes?
She's,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Just how she say it.
Yeah. Now, for those who want to see it again, it will be, I believe, on the Old K-Man Facebook group in the very near future. So if you're fans of the Old K-Man Facebook group, jump on there.
Good.
And Cla has a few other pieces on there which are quite... quite relevant. For those that don't know, she has the cleanest hands in K-Man.
Yes.
Sanitizing 40 times a day. But that was Aunt Cla. So again, big thank you for her for
perfect time.
Showcasing her new material live here on Radio K-Man. We do have two callers we'll take in just a moment. The other couple ones that I thought of here, which Aunt Cla touched on a few ones, is hug your loved ones more. Granted, she didn't say the hug ones, and I realize it's not a whole social distancing scenario, but when appropriate, hugging your loved ones more I thought was a really good one. Go clutter free. This is one of mine. So this is actually one of my goals. It's this weekend. It is the New Year's resolution because I'm not doing the big party thing, but it's to declutter those corners, the drawers that just have...
There's always one kitchen drawer.
There's one drawer. I have one corner. I have one table in a corner. I look at it and go, come, at some point, stop putting stuff on there. Because my son put something on there the other day, and I went, no, don't start. But I thought that was another one. The delegate more was what I love. My son's now an age where he's 9, where he does his own chores, but now I can start delegating, the little extra things. And he looks at it like he gets to be more mature. He gets to show a little more.
I've learned to do that in this new role.
I hope so.
And I've learned to trust the people that have been placed in my life to make that easier. Absolutely. It's a transition because you're used to being in control. Yes. But now it's so overwhelming with the role that you have to delegate in order to be successful. It's all about quality.
Absolutely correct. We do have two callers we have to go through. The last one I want to mention really fast was to reduce the negative influences in your life. Those might be the toxic friends. It might be the toxic family members. It might be the social media. It might be your own inner talk. It might be that voice inside that's just running at your head, and it's stopping you from achieving what you want to achieve.
You're failing yourself before you even get started.
Absolutely. And so the only one I had to say on that one is to write it down. Write down everything in your life that you feel is kind of pushing you in the opposite direction.
You have your smartphone. Speak to Google. Google Notes. I'm kidding.
I'm going to ignore it. I appreciate your input.
I'm getting at
you. Let's go to our next caller. Sorry. Good afternoon, caller. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for calling.
Good afternoon, Minister.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Doctor.
Good afternoon.
I want to, first of all, wish you all a merry, and happy New Year.
Thank you. Likewise.
You too.
And, I couldn't help but call in because, Susan always make my day. I'm night whenever she's on.
Who's this now?
And of course, you know where she's from, right?
Cla.
Is that, I don't know where Susan came from. I heard Aunt Cla, though.
She's from the Brack.
That's right.
Yeah. And that's where Sabrina hails from as well.
I wonder how much roads they're going to block tonight.
You know it.
Oh, yeah.
Putting them doors across the road.
All right.
Those were the good old days.
Yes, yes.
And I tell you what, Susan has brought them back this year powerful. I have to really, commend her for her writings. And they need to be, you would say, cherished.
Yes.
But on that note, I want to again wish all of my family and friends and all the ministers and government and everyone a joyous and happy new year. And let's bring in 2022 with safety.
That's right.
I like that.
Thank you.
Because we can live today to make it our last day, or we can live today to make it for tomorrow.
That's right.
So, you all take care. God bless, and best wishes.
Thank you. God bless you too, and all the best for
Caller,
the new year.
Thank you so much. Next caller, good afternoon. Thanks for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is a real good old-fashioned one.
All right.
Yeah. First of all, my name is James Sterling Bank III, better known as Jimmy.
Okay, Jim.
And this is Sabrina Turner. And Dr. Borden.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Very nice to hear you all on this radio talk this afternoon. Very, very good to hear.
It's a pleasure to be here.
This is down to Cayman level now. Yeah, that's what we needed. Guys forward. Okay. Let me say something here that is very important. Let me wish you all compliments of the coming season here now. Allow me to wish you all, each and every one. This is one little ball we in this whole entire globe is just one ball we on the inside of it. This will reach out there. I want to wish everyone a happy, healthy, prosperous, and spiritual new year. One day at a time. You use that like in a little sprinkler, like pepper and salt, and you sprinkle a little bit of that out every day as you go, and you'll find out that you have less worries. You're dependent on your Creator for each and every step that you make, and you'll be safe, very, very safe. I think the government is doing a very, very important job at what they're doing. They got on a different set of, they're not using any glasses. They got their eyes stretched out in the front. Down the road, they see some stuff. That's very good. I mean, you got good eyesight. And Mr. Singh.
Yes, sir.
You're a very good host at this talk.
Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that.
Okay. Now, this is 6 words to this wish. Happy, healthy, prosperous, spiritual new year. That's 6 words.
Yes, sir.
There's no such thing like it.
No, there isn't. Sir, we do have to go to our next break here in a moment. Can I ask you to wrap it up very quickly here?
I'm going to leave you alone now.
I didn't have to go that quick, but thank you so much, sir. And a very happy new year to you, and thank you so much for the kind wishes.
I give you the 5 words.
5
Happy,
words.
healthy, prosperous year. New year is only good until tomorrow.
That's true. Thank you so much, sir. All the best to you, and
Nice
a happy,
words.
healthy, prosperous
year
to you as well.
Yeah, no
Thank
new,
you so much.
because we want it to continue.
That's right. On that note, let's go to our next commercial break, and we come back. We'll be wrapping up this special segment for for New Year's Eve. Back with more Talk Today right after this.
We may be in Christmas shopping mode, but 'tis the flu season too. Savannah Pharmacy has immune system boosters for the entire family with a range of vitamins and supplements. Their knowledgeable and courteous pharmacists are always available to offer the best advice and products. Remember, they are always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
A friendly holiday reminder. You can WhatsApp your Savannah Pharmacy prescription to 929-5045. That's 929-5045.
At Subway, we caramel a lot about our customers, so we decided to give you 2 treats in one with the new Caramel Apple Cookie. Enjoy cinnamon apples, caramel bits, and salted caramel crunch baked in, and topped with a drizzle of caramel-flavored icing. Gooey, crunchy, and yummy. Complete your Subway sandwich, pizza, or salad with the delicious Caramel Apple Cookie or any other cookie flavor and dessert, available for a limited time at all Subway locations. Subway, eat fresh.
You can now register online to receive a securely verified digital copy of your COVID-19 vaccination status with QR code through the My HSA patient portal. Sign up is available online and at all HSA locations. All you need is your photo ID showing date of birth and an email address. Visit hsa.ky and click the My HSA patient portal icon to get started.
The Ministry of Education invites eligible Caymanians to apply for overseas government scholarships for the 2022-2023 academic year. To apply for an overseas government scholarship or learn more about the various scholarship programs, please visit the recently upgraded scholarship application portal at www.moescholarships.gov.ky. Applications close on Monday, 31st of January, 2022.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
And welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Raymond Singh, filling in for Mr. Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. Hopefully you were tuned in before the break and were able to catch the Ant Claw segment. But hopefully we'll be on Facebook at some point in the very near future. Again, we have in the studio the Honorable Minister for Health and Wellness, Ms. Sabrina Turner, and from Encore's Cayman, Dr. Alexander Bodden, here discussing goals for the new year, how we can better manage our stress in the new year with regards to issues surrounding COVID and isolation and any potential regulations that might be forthcoming in 2022. And then looking at some of the what I liked about these smaller, more manageable goals, and some of the ones we talked about, we're going to bed earlier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was going to say, if anyone's interested in looking up, there's a framework called Smarter Goals that can actually help with setting the goals. So things like being specific. So like I said, like getting healthy is great, but what does that actually mean?
Sure.
Right? So being specific about it, whether it's losing weight, making it measurable, how much, or is it going to be eating more vegetables, maybe like 1 vegetable a day, 3 vegetables a day, right? If you want to go by serving, you got to work up to it. Right? So wherever you are, you want it to be a little bit more action orientated. So that's where having negative goals, so things like don't do this, are really difficult. Mm-hmm. So rather than, like, I give my example, don't drink sodas, it's drink more tea or drink more water. Rather than don't eat French fries, eat more vegetables. Rather than, don't spend 3 hours on social media, it's going to be spend more time with family. Have a family dinner, go for a walk in the evening. So having it doing something is often easier than not. Because if you say something like "don't eat French fries," what do you left thinking about?
Well, of course, French fries, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yummy. And the human brain doesn't really work very well in the negative. Yeah. So action oriented, realistic, right? So would you actually have time for what's something that will fit within your lifestyle? Because you're not going to make a huge lifestyle change right away. Right, but the goal is to make it sustainable, right? So if it's going to be something smaller, something that you are able to do every day, whether it's going to be walking. I'm a part of a coaching group that like a fitness coaching set that I really like. It came with a fitness program I did, and they actually talk about fitness snacking. which I thought was great,
Fitness
which is snacking.
Okay.
Yeah, because, you talk about like snacking with
Sure,
food, but
yes,
fitness
yes.
snacking. So if you don't have time to work out for 30 or 45 minutes in the morning, doing 10 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes over lunchtime, and another 20 minutes in the
It's
afternoon.
the hijack method. Hijack your day. There's 5 minutes somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. But making it something that you can keep doing. So realistic, having it be timed, right? So setting a time frame for when you want things to happen, evaluating, is it working, is it not, right? If the last 4 years your goal's been go to the gym and it's never happened, how can we change that, right? Sure. So being realistic on what's going to work for you, and then reviewing, right? If it's not working, what can we do to get you there or to make it be more effective?
Sure.
So smarter goals is something that they can look up that's really helpful.
I like that. Smarter goals. That's an app or a website?
No, it's actually just an idea that's all over the internet. If anyone's interested in that, cognitive restructuring.
SMART, the acronym.
Yes, but now that's smarter. So they've added in evaluate, so checking in, is it working?
Gotcha.
And then reviewing, right? So what's working, what's not, what can I do differently to make it be more helpful or to get me to my goal more quickly, better?
Absolutely. I love the fitness snacking one. That's actually, it's something I started a few years back, and it's just, I call it hijacking your day. And if you look at your hour, there's a 5-minute window somewhere in your hour that you're probably scrolling social media.
Yep.
Where you can be doing 20 jumping jacks.
Yeah.
5 minutes of yoga.
Yeah, and all of that adds up.
It does.
And I think it's important to acknowledge that, and the small changes will build into the lifestyle.
Absolutely correct.
And I think that's what's important to think is consistency.
Yeah. So that's the smarter goals. I like that. Yeah. What does the E and the R stand for again?
Evaluate and review.
Evaluate and review. I should know that.
Actually, a couple of them are reward, but generally it is review. So depending on where you look it up, it will come out
chocolate.
different.
I'm going to go with reward.
You and Mr. Sterling must be friends then.
Yes, no, I'm a big chocolate fan. Yeah. That's my one vice.
If your goal, and I'm picking rewards that are helpful. So it might be that, it might be a movie, it might just be that you maybe allow yourself an hour on, to go do something for yourself.
Sure,
so
absolutely.
Hopefully not an hour on social media, maybe 5 minutes on social media, whatever it is for you, right? Yeah. Either buying yourself something or stopping by the beach on your way home.
Absolutely.
So
you mentioned that hour on social media, right? If we were to evaluate our hour, like how you get paid on a regular basis, and break down your hourly wage into what it is per hour, that's how much time you have given away. If time is money, that's how much money you actually gave away for free.
Yep.
To social media, whichever app it was that you were playing on.
Wow.
In that time frame. And if you multiply that by 7 days a week, 365 a year, and for many, it's actually more than an hour a day.
Yeah.
That's the reality of that coin. So you put a dollar figure on it, it gets very scary very quickly how much money you're potentially giving away.
Yeah.
Leave it to you to bring it to reality.
I bring the economics is usually the biggest.
But it's a good way of restructuring. I had a friend that quit smoking, and she had an app, and so I agree. Breaks from technology are really important, but sometimes technology can be helpful as we're moving towards some of these goals. She had an app that not only counted how many cigarettes she hadn't smoked, but how much money she had saved and how many minutes she added to her life.
You see?
Sure. Yeah,
so it's whatever it is that kind of does it for you. It's reframing it to make it make it have that impact, to make you make a change. To get to that point that Minister Turner was talking about earlier, where you're like, okay, wow. Kind of have that moment where you're like, this is an issue and I want to do something different. Because before you're there, it's really hard to make any changes.
Yeah. It's very difficult. Not putting it in perspective. Steve Harvey has a few motivational videos he's done. They're on YouTube as well if you guys want to go and look. And he does a great way of breaking it down. And it's Steve Harvey, the comedian, right?
Yeah.
Some of you look at it and go, ha, 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 but really, he's broken it down.
He's real.
And he's used the context of religion in there. And he's used the context of real. That's actually the word.
He's real.
He's talking about real scenarios. Now, with only 2 minutes left in our show before for our last show of 2021, we had a caller earlier challenge me to put a question to the Honourable Minister.
You may
that
need
was
another
so
show.
hard. I might need another show, and I've struggled to come up with a question, so I came up with a challenge instead. Minister for Health and Wellness, 2022, big year upon us for wellness. What wellness challenge are you personally going to take on for yourself in 2022?
Realistically, that's easy. I'm investing in my health. I have already begun, because it is a lifestyle change that I fell off a little bit on the bandwagon because life hits you.
Sure.
But I'm definitely investing in my health.
So
what you put in will only radiate, and what you what is shown out.
So now
So
part
I'm-
2.
Yeah.
Part 2. Will you participate in the half marathon next year?
Oh, no. No.
Don't worry, my answer would have been no as well.
No,
Think about that a minute.
Yeah, exactly. These are the big chunks that I'm telling you to avoid. I know realistically what is expected of me. But in that split second, because of the forum that I'm on, did I want to say yes because of what people would have perceived?
Sure.
But I'm believing in me, and I know I would not be able to do it. But I thank you for this
You know,
opportunity.
I hope I actually, accomplish what caller number 4 and actually, put that challenge toward us to ask a hard question.
One thing the callers will tell you is that I'm me.
Yeah.
And
No,
you'll always get the truth.
You didn't sugarcoat that in the slightest.
No, not at all.
Yeah, it wasn't even.
Not at all.
You didn't have to dig deep for an answer.
No,
it was right
because
there
I know
waiting.
it was unrealistic.
I love it.
But thank you.
But being honest with yourself is
Yes,
the big,
that's
big
the biggest.
thing.
Yeah,
And honest with the people around you. And like you said, there's the pressure to agree to all these things.
In a
and-
split second, are you going to do this? But then it takes away from who I am.
Sure.
And it is not who I am.
Love it. I had another one, but I'm not going to ask that one.
It's another show.
It's another show. Because we can go so much into it. Dr. Bond, any final points for 2021, heading into 2022 for our listeners?
Yeah, keep the goals relevant to you. Dig deep, figure out what it is that you want, and what you're hoping to achieve in getting there. And there's no wrong time to start. So start now.
Exactly.
The hardest part is getting going.
That's
so
absolutely correct.
Go do it now.
And it's okay to fall off. Just pick yourself up and just do. We're not perfect. And this is where the big thing is. We fall off the wagon and it's the end of the world. No, it's not.
It's the Rocky mentality, right? You're going to get knocked down. You just got to get
Make
back
some
up.
adjustments and get back. At the end of the day, you'll be happy with the results.
Yeah, and there's help out there. There's support. If it's a fitness goal, there's fitness coaches. If it's a health goal, there's nutritionists that can be helpful. If it's a kind of mental health goal, then there's therapists out there that are available. If it's an educational goal, talk to some of the schools. There's people out there that can help. And I think that a lot of times we get stuck with, I have to fix this myself.
Yeah.
That's not the case, and, be true to yourself and explore things, try new things, and I think a lot of times we get very stuck in this kind of the box mentality, and that's not the case. So if you're not loving your life and things that are going on right now, it's okay to try new things. Some of them are going to be great, some aren't, but that's okay.
And stop depriving yourself because of pride. Reach out.
Eat the chocolate.
Not on that.
No, it's not even okay. I love chocolate, but it's not even okay after. Don't deprive yourself, you're saying, sir.
Yeah, just don't deprive yourself. I mean, if you really need help, don't let pride overtake that. And just, don't. And if there's a stigma when you say if you need help, reach out to the mental health hotline. There is a stigma that's just with mental health that needs to be down. Well, it just demystified. And in the wellness arm of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, we're going to be doing more on that. So you'll be hearing more from us and people in the industry looking at all the 360 side of wellness. And that is from mental, spiritual, from just getting out and the nutrition side of it. And we'll be reaching out to partners, stakeholders in the industry to help us along. So from a national perspective, we can embrace this moving forward. Hence the importance of us getting a new Deputy Chief Officer in the Ministry of Health and Wellness to head up that. So much more coming from the ministry. And I really want to thank Radio Cayman for this opportunity. Ray, to you especially.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me on. And I'm looking forward for great things in my role as the country's Minister of Health and Wellness, and in my personal life to my family. I make you a promise that I will be making even more calls very early in the morning.
That's my promise to you.
That's my promise to you. It's just showing love. It's showing who I am. And to the constituents of the Prospect area and the Red Bay, it is all one happy family. I thank you for this opportunity. We are now entering a new year, and this is not something that is unrealistic. Sure. I am here for you. I will be in the community a lot more now that we've gotten our budget through, and we'll be seeing more things happening from the constituency office. I want to thank my small crew for being there at the office, and for even all of the volunteers for every project that had set my foot on. Money is not an option. They're investing in their representative for the betterment of our community, our people, and our country. And it is not money. When we put off an event, it is a lot of volunteers, people with good hearts, and they're seeing the results. And I'm very happy that I am surrounded by a group of people who really have country and people first.
Awesome. That's great.
Yes.
It's great to know that there is that robustness in that team. Actually,
and it's small, but it's powerful.
Yeah,
that's key.
Right? Absolutely.
But thank you, and Happy New Year, Cayman, and definitely we're going to make it a healthy one, and thank you for your patience through us, and please don't throw me under the bus when regulations have to change at the spur of a moment. We're all about keeping you safe and alive.
We hope they don't change, but we do want, I guess at this point everyone does recognize that the reality is the reality of the coin, and sometimes that might be the case scenario.
Yeah.
Aunt Claude did just call in with a quick note. She said to remind the community that don't forget to hand sanitize.
Yeah, 40 times.
40 times. Cleanest hands in Cayman has said it. Ladies, thank you much. Though. I
thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
You've been very generous today with the calls and some of the comments, so thank you. On that note, we do need to call it a wrap for today's show. Thank you again to all of our loyal listeners out there in Radio Cayman Nation. Our guest Minister for Health and Wellness, Ms. Serena Turner, from Encore's Cayman, Dr. Alexandra Bodden, and of course, Aunt Claude. We cannot forget her special debut here on Talk Today. On behalf of the entire Radio Cayman family, thank you for supporting Radio Cayman throughout 2021. This is our last show of the year. I'm Raymond Singh. God bless and have a safe New Year's and a prosperous and happy 2022.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.
Radio Cayman, the voice, the heart, the soul